And we're live, just like that. You've got the Aired Out Podcast. Oh.
Well, goodness.
Yes.
Okay, then.
You doing okay?
I'm doing all right. I'm kind of like not really awake yet.
There's the disclaimer right there. You know, I think, and it's on your screen right now if you wanna read it and have a look at it. I think we should add some language into this for 2023, which, you know, includes something about,
Our appearance.
well, speak for yourself.
Honey,
mean-
did you look at your hair yet? I'm just asking.
You, not only our appearance, which at times could look like something from a haunted house, but also, you know, mention of, I don't know, occasional nudity or mention thereof. I don't know.
Mention of, but it never has been, and I sure as hell hope there never will be. My God.
Where's my coffee?
Right next to you, and I haven't had enough of mine to deal with that. I'll tell you
Listen,
that right now.
I'm going to tell everyone right now, before we even get started.
Right out of the gate.
Right
We're
out of the
already
gate.
talking about nudity.
If you're having a rough day today, just think this, that it could always be worse. You could be the CEO of Southwest Airlines. That's a bad day right there.
I thought you were going to say that you could see you naked, since you were like going down that rabbit hole already.
that's a
for
bad day,
saying-
too.
So
Well, that's it's true. It's a bad day also.
yes, that man is having a very bad day.
Yes, he is.
Yes, he is.
He's
I
going to
saw
have a
him
bad week.
Stepping and fetching this morning on the news. I was listening to him.
Wow. Did you hear about Cato Kalin?
He has some splaining to do.
Yes, he does. Lots.
No, I don't. I have not heard. Are you going to tell me?
Busting into somebody's house and trying to apparently steal some oranges from their orange tree.
Well,
The guy's whacked.
I guess so.
He's not getting right. He's getting wrong.
Apparently not.
God, we have a lot to talk about this morning. First off, should we give some weather? We have a little bit of a warming trend that's going on.
I hope so, because I'm freezing.
So says Roger. Oh,
The
nice.
gospel.
Yeah. Yes. Phone's almost dead here, but Roger's talking about another rain event coming, maybe next Tuesday, I think.
You know, my snowman contest isn't going to work.
At this point, yeah.
The entries we have are winners, because we're
Well-
not going to get any more snowmen unless people get real creative, which I have said you can do. You make snowmen out of anything you want and
Yeah.
submit the photo.
Some of them might be sacking a little bit, though. Yeah, but you know, I'm showing about 20 degrees right now, so it feels like it's a little warmer than that.
I
think
so.
that may be wrong, but we have occasional snow showers through about 3 o'clock this afternoon, and highs near 30. So be careful, because there could be some slick spots and some black ice. Also, I got into a little bit of black ice last night.
You did.
It just literally,
Just a little.
it was a half a second, and it was just the rear end, and it just went just half a second.
Just a little.
Just enough for me to go, what was that?
Yeah. Pay attention.
Yeah, be careful. So that's the story. Looks like cloudy tonight, 17, and then tomorrow, Thursday, cloudy, 38 degrees. And here he is. He's coming in right now. Look at this. Look at this.
The man, the myth, the legend.
Tom Lozon, who's taken off his coat and flinging it over his left shoulder and walking in right now. Let's.
That doesn't blow up.
Tom, how the hell are you, man? Sit down. Grab a mic.
Look, he's all dressed up today.
Yeah. Are you all dressed up?
Dressed up?
Let's have him go like closer to you, Raylene, and
Scoot over. I won't bite you, I promise.
back a little bit if you can. Yeah. Yeah.
Good Lord.
Yeah.
All the instructions this morning.
I get
Well,
Right.
Tom, how are you, man? God,
I'm well. How are you?
you look great, and I'm just going to say this, okay? Because I've said this before on the air, and I'm just going to say this again. And Sherilyn has said this about you as well. Not only do you look great, you smell great. He used to Tom used to come into the Froggy studio, and like a week later, it would still smell like Tom Lozon.
Yeah.
Really? Well,
Oh, we'd all have
I
fun.
do aftershave.
Yeah,
know?
we would all have fun talking about you. And
Well, thank you. I'm glad my life is a source of entertainment for you
Were you-
and others.
yes,
So yeah,
a good Christmas for Tom
a great
Lozon.
holiday season. Yeah, I
Good.
mean, not done yet.
No,
Karen's birthday is Friday.
Oh,
so
wow.
the pressure's on.
I was
Oh,
going
it's
to say.
brutal. It's brutal because we struggle, and I guess that's a good thing when you struggle to figure out what to get your spouse for Christmas or her birthday, because she looks at you and says, "Well, I don't need anything. I
Yeah.
have everything I want, and I have everything I need."
yes, yes.
Yeah. So what I've tried to give her is time, because I don't always have a lot, and Karen's happy to, she lets me do my stupid stuff.
Yes, yes.
So I make sure that on her birthday, it's a relaxed afternoon at home, and then we go out and have a nice dinner and talk and
When's
That
the last time?
works.
just spend time.
When's the last time you've taken Karen out to an old-fashioned movie at the movie theaters?
The movie theaters?
Yeah.
Well, it was pre-pandemic, and,
Well,
and
that's
we,
true.
we're not big like Netflix. Her big thing right now is Yellowstone.
Oh yeah,
Oh, she is totally
This
hooked
one, too.
on
Me too.
Yellowstone. I'm not, like I'll watch it with her
yeah.
on Sunday evening, but I'm not, hooked away. I mean, literally, like Sunday at around 5:00,
Yeah.
she starts getting into the Yellowstone vibe.
Yes.
Like, okay,
You have to
dinner's got to be.
prepare.
We tend to eat, later because our schedules just run that way. But
Yeah.
no, on Sunday, dinner's got to be done by 6. Everything cleaned up
Oh.
by 7, and then
yeah.
we do the pre-Yellowstone ritual. It's and
The
there's so-
jammies
there's- and
on,
there's
the
very-
blankets, the
Yeah,
wine.
there's very few things that
Right.
She's totally hooked on that show.
Does she think that Kevin Costner's hot? I mean, of course she does.
Karen's so sweet. She probably does. Hell,
Well, of
I
course
think
she
Kevin
does.
Costner's hot. What are you
Whoa.
kidding me?
Whoa,
I mean, geez, Louise, but
Raylene, can we cut?
Thanks,
well,
Tom.
she's got to.
Can we cut out that sound bite where Lozon says that Kevin Costner's hot?
No.
And we'll send it to the Times Argus and CAX
Go for
and
it.
everywhere.
Well, so what's wrong with that?
Right, exactly.
I miss
God.
Obama too. There, you want a soundbite?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I do.
I do too.
I miss a yeah.
Was there a city council meeting last night?
There was not.
Okay.
There was not.
We're on a little Christmas break.
We're digesting the budget, and so I've been playing around with that, and I'll have some suggested adjustments, and which Nicholas has, and Dawn have been, they've been great in terms of having those discussions, and they understand that, we all don't see things the same way. Probably the biggest discussion is going to be full funding for Barry area development.
Okay.
Especially in light of the recent news, the replacement of the East Barry water line.
Yes.
That we've all looked at that trestle for, well before I was ever mayor.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody looked at that trestle and would kind of, give it the stink eye whenever you saw it. And, we always struggled $2 million to fix it. And we all struggled with that, because it's not it's not a disaster until it's a disaster.
Sure.
And certainly living on borrowed time, kind of like the Main Street reconstruction project. I mean,
That's right.
That if that main transmission line, which was the reason for the Main Street reconstruction project, although we all appreciate the sidewalks and the lights and and the roadway, that wasn't the reason for the project. The reason was
That's right.
a century-old
big
main transmission line
Yeah.
that's 16 feet below grade, and if that ever failed, you would literally have poo filling
Sure.
the basements. We're a basin, so you would have had poo filling the basements in our downtown in hours.
Is that what it was? 16 feet down?
Yeah, it was 16 feet in places. Yeah,
Wow.
16 feet below grade, deep.
You were on the air with me like every day.
Yeah.
With updates about the big dig
Yeah.
and what was happening.
Yeah.
And I remember you coming on the air way ahead of it saying, listen, Barry, you need to practice right now your level of patience because buckle up.
They
We're
did.
going to be, and yeah,
They did.
it took a long time.
Yeah. And, obviously, so the Eastbury transmission line would not be that intrusive. I mean, certainly it's going to, disrupt traffic. I would think it's going to disrupt traffic on 302 on occasion. But, I'm sure, it'll be well planned, well executed. And then, the auditorium, I mean, that's huge in terms of attracting people. We saw how many people visited Barrie for the craft fair only recently.
Right.
It was interesting in the Times-Argus today, and I apologize because I only follow our local sports teams, high school teams, but there's a high school team that has Barrie on the back of their warm-up jerseys because, getting
That's
to
what
Barrie for those basketball teams, getting to Barrie is like the pinnacle of their high school career. That's what they all shoot for.
Sure.
And, there's so much history in that building, and it really is a great facility. It just lacks modern amenities.
Sure.
It's not a polished, and if you look around central Vermont, not a lot of competition in terms of, so I think once we put that $3 million plus into that building, upgrade the HVAC, the restrooms, and that was so circling around, that was all BADC. That was all Cody
And-
Morrison. Yeah.
I listen. We know you're busy, and you've got better things to do than sit around and listen.
No,
to
I've got
Aired
a few
Out
minutes
podcast.
today. It's all good.
No. But yesterday we
okay.
we had Cody on the air with us
Yeah.
yesterday.
No way.
Yeah.
How's he doing?
It was awesome.
For the majority, I think the majority of the show.
Did he give you his email address? Because I actually hunted for. I know where he is, but I was hunting for his email address and I couldn't find it.
Tom,
I guess I could message him on Facebook because but we're not friends on Facebook.
First
Because I
of
never
all-
realized that he had a Facebook page until he commented. I did read the comment.
Yeah.
Yes, it's he has a Facebook alias, I think.
Yeah.
But Tom, I'll tell you right now, if you want Cody's email, if you give me $20, I will give you his email address right now. Right now.
Well, how about this? I won't jump across the desk and attack you if you give me his email address.
He was excellent yesterday. Michael Deering was sitting where you're sitting, and was filling in yesterday with Raylene.
Does he come back around often? I'd love to buy him a beer or
He
a
wants
sandwich or dinner or something.
Yeah, he wants to come back to Barrie, but yeah, I mean, he was the man that was front and center behind this, and
He was, and he didn't get a lot of, at that time, there were
Right.
some people on the council who really supported him and some who were not very supportive. And that was,
Yes.
I mean, I saw what he was trying to do and saw the vision. And at a time when, we are and still are short staffed in terms of whether it's, housing grants or, for him to take that initiative and talk to, at that time, Steve McKenzie.
Right.
And he had Steve's blessing to, hey, if you want to pursue this, we'd love to have someone do it. We just don't have the bandwidth right now.
The thing about Cody is that he was just hell-bent, man.
Yeah.
If he wanted something badly enough, he didn't let anything stand in his way. And he was so strong like that. I mean,
but he was, he
got
was
those-
collaborative.
He got those Leahy-Sanders earmarks. And I remember him saying, "We've got it. It's just going to take a little while before, we've actually got the money in the pocket, but we've got it approved.
Yeah.
So
and again, I don't know. I really appreciate Senator Sanders being so supportive, because if you look at the total amount of congressional earmarks that Senator Sanders was able to get through, and it was a significant amount of money. We were over 10%.
yeah,
And on a per capita basis, we're certainly nowhere
Sure.
near 10% the population of the state of Vermont. But these are, so these are really great projects. I mean, these are projects that certainly the auditorium project, I think, is going to be transformative.
yeah. It's so important, as you know, for all 4 seasons to have that auditorium adapt
Yep.
to each of them. I mean, during the summertime, my God, Tom, we need air conditioning in there.
Yeah, I mean, during the summertime we have basketball camps and clinics and, free shooting, but I mean, let's face it, you're only going there to sweat in the summertime, and you're going to. So that's why, you'll see basketball and different sports in there. But, in terms of events, if it's over 80 degrees,
Sure.
nobody's going in the auditorium.
Right.
Deering and I were saying yesterday that, God forbid, if there was some kind of natural disaster of such during the summer months, like we just had here in Vermont last week, and needed to have that at auditorium as a shelter. If that were to happen during the summertime, we have folks with health issues
Well,
that can't.
It has. I mean, it
Right.
did.
Right.
And
Irene,
it has.
Irene.
And and thankfully it wasn't midsummer. It wasn't when the temperatures were 80, 90 degrees. So the temperatures were a little bit less, and we were able to use fans, to circulate the air through the building. But it's not a, it's just it was built in the 30s. I mean,
Right.
it's not. The technology has changed, and just a very different building back then in the 30s when we built it. But like I keep saying, it's a great asset, and this. The $3 million plus that the senator was able to secure for us is going to be, it's going to be transformative, and it's going to have this ripple effect. I think you heard Jake Hemrick say something about that, but he was speaking about a different event that was at the Labor Hall, and he said, "Look, it really, these events, and they do. He's right. They do have a ripple effect, and
Sure they do.
And you can put,
Massive.
you can put a lot more people." In the auditorium, so I'm excited about that. And
3.451.
yeah, yeah.
Will there be a time when we will know as a community precisely spelled out in detail how that money is going to be spent? I know.
Oh, of course.
Electrical, bathrooms.
Well, that's the next discussion. That's the discussion that I want to have on next Tuesday on the 3rd, and I want a rough outline of a implementation plan for both of these projects.
Exactly.
We're certainly going to need either a really good general contractor or a project manager for both.
Sure, both.
And so obviously, if we need a project manager, then we got to have that. We need to have that discussion now, because the conversation will be, well, we know we don't have the bandwidth for these projects. So how are what is the time frame? Give me a rough outline. Let's work towards refining it, and I want to know the implementation date.
Yeah.
When are we going to get plans drawn up? When are we going to? I mean, we have no excuses now. So I'm excited about that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
It's a
so,
good
I mean,
path
that was-
forward.
Again, and so
And the water line
yeah,
is what, 100 years old?
yeah, and it's the trestle. It's where it goes across a big ravine that is the area of big concern. I mean, there's a lot of areas where we're concerned, but where it goes across this ravine, it's just old and I don't want to say failed. Nothing has failed, but it wouldn't surprise anyone if it did. I mean,
Right.
it doesn't owe us anything at this point, and it's the main transmission line. It
Right.
is how we get our water.
Yeah.
So
Right. If it
it-
happens,
if
we're
that
screwed.
if that were to fail, we'd be in deep trouble.
I wonder. So how far down is that? Do we know?
How far down?
How deep is that line?
Well, it's actually where one of the problem areas is where it crosses a ravine. It's actually exposed. So, it's not down at all. It's there's a ravine and
Shallow.
it traverses the ravine, and you've got a series of support structures that have, they haven't failed because it's still there, but nobody can tell us why it hasn't failed.
I don't know if we were joking yesterday or if someone commented saying or suggesting that it was wood.
Well, parts are, yeah.
Holy shit.
I mean, there's a lot of buildings in Barre that are wood, and
Right.
wood, just because something is wood, it doesn't mean, but wood exposed to the elements. And, over the years, the city has effected a number of repairs, and we keep a close eye on it. But while we're doing all that, the conversation always comes up, it needs to be replaced. And then the conversation used to end very quickly when someone would ask a reasonable question, what is the cost? $2
Right.
million, and
Right.
that was the end of the
Yeah, that was-
conversation.
Right.
Yeah, of course.
Yep.
So
Tom, I remember, and I obviously I can't quote you because this was a long
I can't quote
this
you.
was a long time ago. I mean, I could make up a quote.
Go for it.
But I remember you saying something to the effect of, and I also remember Lucas Herring kind of echoing it, something to the suggestion of our water and sewer rates are essentially what they are because, in layman's terms, we're trying to save and fill the pot for a new water line someday. This was a long, long time ago.
Well, infrastructure, there is a portion of the water and sewer rates that build a fund balance, and that fund balance is for not just the deferred maintenance, but the ongoing maintenance. So if what you're leading into is, hey, once you replace this, will water and sewer rates plummet? No. No, because this is the project that we couldn't fund. I mean, we fund, our infrastructure isn't crumbling. It's old, just like every municipality in Vermont. On occasion, we have water main breaks. Just like in your home, on occasion you have a pipe leak and you call a plumber.
Sure.
If you look at how often that occurs, it isn't.
And on Berlin Street, it's every other week.
It's not every other
Oh my
week.
gosh.
And listen, for folks who are affected, like the power outages,
Yeah.
it sure seems, when it happens once or twice a year, it certainly seems like it's happening
Right.
every few weeks, and I understand the convenience.
Sure.
But overall, we do a good job keeping up with our infrastructure needs, but there are always those few projects that are just so expensive that you're aware of them, but you just can't figure out the funding. And,
Sure.
and this piece of infrastructure was one of those pieces. We would consistently push this one aside when we'd say, well, we can replace 300 feet of 100-year-old water and sewer lines on this street.
Sure.
Or we could not do that for 5 years, and then we'd have the money to fix this thing.
Yeah.
And we would prioritize. And I'm not saying anyone made a poor decision. You're always trying to balance what things cost, what the rates are, and the cash you generate, and you're always trying to prioritize those needs. I mean, this is just a good thing. This just literally, in terms of our infrastructure needs, this we leapfrogged 5 years.
Okay.
So I'm grateful. I'm
Any-
grateful
any
to Cody
ideas?
for having the initiative.
Oh,
I'm
Cody,
I'm
yeah.
Cody. I'm grateful to the senator for
Sure.
for his support, and so now
1.7, and we got a big piece of the pie. That's.
we did.
Do we have any ideas? And I know you probably can't speculate, but when this new project of this water line could possibly begin?
Well, I mean, again, there's a lot of planning.
Sure.
I'm not sure about permitting.
Yeah.
For this thing, there probably will be some permits that will have to be pulled.
You
and
think we'll
applied
need
for.
this coming summer to get that all figured out?
I'm hoping so.
All right. So maybe
I mean,
next-
I'm going to be pushing for that, and again, you've got a lot of things to consider.
Right.
I mean, the bandwidth of
Sure.
our construction industry. This is not a small project. So in terms of getting on the construction schedule,
Right.
So there's
So
a lot of
maybe-
things that need to be considered, but suffice it to say, we're getting this done.
So
this
maybe
isn't
not,
a wish list anymore.
Maybe
We're getting
not,
it done.
Maybe not this summer, but possibly the summer after.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if it was
Because
a
this
year
summer
or better
is
of
like
planning.
This summer is like tomorrow.
Pretty much
Yeah.
booked. Yeah.
Okay,
Pretty
okay.
much booked. I obviously we're going to start with construction drawings, and you've got to assess current conditions. So we've looked at it.
Yeah.
But in terms of looking at it through the eyes of an engineer, who has to come up with a set of construction drawings, I mean,
Right.
they have to assess the existing conditions first.
Sure.
And then say, okay, well, how are we going to do this? We know, are we going to, what's the best thing to do? Do we consider do we continue to traverse the ravine? Do we move the water line?
Yeah.
So that we're not. So, there's a lot of things that people have to consider. And, again, we've got the money in the bank.
Yeah.
So
right.
it's not a question of will we do it?
Right. It's not going
It's just
anywhere.
a question of executing, making sure that we execute a plan well. Because, what I always thought of when I was in the center chair, I was always grateful when we would get opportunities in Barrie. But I was always mindful that for every community that gets funded, there's probably 9 that didn't.
Yeah.
So I always looked at that and said, boy, we've got a real responsibility here. And if we want the senator to continue to support us, we need to make sure that he can come to Barrie and say, boy, these guys executed this flawlessly.
Yeah.
They did a great job. This
That's
was
right.
money well spent, and holy cow, it really had the intended effect. Or I wouldn't support us if we suck.
Right. Right.
So we've
Exactly.
got and I have no reason to think we will. We've got a great team, and but again, it's you got to be mindful that for every community that gets funded, there's quite a few that didn't.
That's right.
So so we owe it to them too.
And with regard to the Barrie Auditorium, I just have to say, even surrounding communities, surrounding towns, Montpelier among them, was banging the drum real loud through the storm, saying the Barrie Auditorium is open as a shelter.
Yeah.
So it's important not
Yeah.
just for Barrie, but for surrounding communities.
Absolutely, and thankfully, no one had to take advantage of that.
That's right.
And I sort of credit that, I mean, we all follow social media, but it was incredible to me. I'd see someone reach out, I don't have power, my house is getting cold, and someone would pop up in the comments saying, I got a generator, I'll be right over.
Yeah. I know.
And so that's really a testament to, friends and family and people just, rising to the occasion and taking care of each other. And,
Yep.
and when you got to haul a generator over to someone's home,
Yeah.
Sure.
and when we didn't have, we didn't have power for an extended period of time, it was not, it was at best an inconvenience. Our house never got colder than 66 degrees when
Yeah.
the power came on. And thankfully, we had everything over at my office. So, we weren't concerned. If worse came to worse, we would have been camping
Yeah.
camping out over there.
Right.
And there's parts of Middlesex that
but
that
there's
still
certain
out.
so for the families that were without power and are still without power for an extended period of time, they had friends, they had family. It's a big problem.
Sure it
But
is.
when you have this many caring people, it becomes a smaller problem.
Right. Come
So
over
the
for
resources
dinner
were
or hot
easier.
shower or
Yeah. Take a generator, haul it over to someone's house. Well, that's something one or two individuals can do, as opposed to when you have a much larger natural disaster like a flood, where
Sure.
there's not really you need resources
Right.
in an instance like that. So even in terms of that facility does serve as a Red Cross shelter, as it's a Central Vermont asset. So we're all excited about making the facility for use for shows and for events and for things that will draw more people to our downtown, draw more people to Barrie. We're excited about that, but we're equally excited about the opportunity to enhance an asset that when you need it, you really need it.
Right.
So we're excited about that too.
Joe Altsworth and Nicholas, our city manager, came in here twice, both kind of just essentially unannounced,
Yep.
and came in here and grabbed a microphone and gave some critical, time-sensitive information, and just my God, Raylene, I don't even know how many people watched.
I know,
but
a lot.
A lot of people, Tom, were tuned into that while we still had internet and power, and just gave some amazing information, and we appreciate them so much.
They were great.
to-
Great response. I wrote to Bill Ahern, Director of Public Works, to Joe, to the police chief, to Nicholas, and just let them know that, no response is perfect, but this one was pretty close.
Yeah.
And when the power went out, you get the flashlights, the candles, the stuff like that going. Thankfully, again, at my home, it was at best an inconvenience. It was daylight hours, and like I said, the house never really got to 66 degrees, and that was it. But old habits die hard.
Of course.
So I jumped in my trusty pickup truck and
Right.
Was sort of driving the streets to assess the damage, and I was amazed at how widespread it was. I had gotten up early that morning, and it was still dark, so I heard the wind come through between 5 and 6 in the morning, and I mean it came through like a freight train. And the weird thing is, it came from the west,
Yeah.
and it never comes from the west. And man, we had a lot of trees down. Even on my property, we had a lot of trees down. But I was just amazed at how widespread, how many challenges there were. It wasn't like, okay, here's a big tree down on the road,
Right.
cut it,
Well,
haul
right.
it out of the
All
way.
done. All
okay,
done.
yeah.
Vermont,
wow.
Vermont Emergency Management, the utilities, Roger Hill, the list goes on. Everyone pretty much pinpointed it. Get the hell off the roads and get home around 4 o'clock
Yeah.
because there's going to be a changeover, and there was.
Oh yeah.
Oh, there was.
The temperature dropped quickly and things iced over quickly. I mean, once daylight came, I had left. The truck is always outside, and that was like a little ice cube.
Sure.
I had to run that for about 45 minutes
Right.
just so I could open. Thank God for automatic starting.
Right,
Yeah.
so you
Because I
could
wouldn't have been
open
able
the
to. I
door.
couldn't. I wouldn't have been
Yeah,
able to
couldn't
open
open the door.
Well, I tried, and then you got that thing where you're like, all right, am I going to pull my handle off?
Right.
Well,
and you're whacking around the door.
so I
was a
got, I
mess.
got my door open, but I pulled off the entire rubber gasket going around the whole door. Oh, you should have heard the language.
It was, yeah. So it was, it was quite an eventful holiday, and I know that, so many people are still without power, and the crews are out there.
And look
Man,
at,
they are out there.
Oh, they're
still.
trying. They're. It's crazy.
They miss.
They all sacrifice their Christmas.
I know. I hope we can do something. I've been thinking about that. I'm hoping we can. I'd really like to do something just to say thank you.
Let us know.
Yeah.
If
Well, think of something. I mean, if anybody has any ideas, but I really, would really like to do something.
Big ass
For
Christmas
them.
party at the Elks.
I don't know, something like that, just to let
Big
them
ass
know.
Christmas party at the Barry Auditorium.
There you go. But we still
You're
don't have. We
such a
don't. We still
genius.
don't have good HVAC, so I don't know that would-
Right.
Now, if we push that forward a couple of years, I think we'll be happier with the result. But it's really been It's been. I was thinking about that yesterday because I was in the office. Phones were kind of quiet. Life was kind of quiet. Kids have. Miranda was flying back to Denver yesterday, so we had a great visit with her, and Alex is back on his regular schedule. So all of a sudden, like our home, because Miranda was in with her fiance Justin, and they were in for the week, and I love it when they're home because our house is full of life.
Yeah.
And always something going on, and always a card game going on, or something.
Sure.
And so all of a sudden, everything
It's
was
quiet.
was very quiet, and you just kind of sit and sigh, and you're like,
Yeah.
it's been a hell of a week.
Now what? Now what?
It's a roller coaster.
But to all the folks out there listening who helped out their neighbors and kept an eye on people, thanks.
Yeah.
Because it all works because everybody does those things, and everybody's like, hey,
Yeah, that's right.
I was amazed at the number of posts on social media. Hey, I got power, I got heat, I got a shower.
Sure.
If you don't, just message me and come on over, and what I have, you're welcome to. And you read those things, and it really, gives you hope that maybe we're going to be okay.
Our first responders were unbelievable here in Barry City and our surrounding communities,
Yeah.
all of the surrounding towns.
Absolutely.
But Nicholas and Joe and I were pushing echoing kind of what you're saying, that regardless of all of those agencies and the utilities, number one, the most important thing is, like you just said, make sure you grassroots effort. You check on your neighbors and make sure they're okay.
Well, it frees up the first responders
course it does.
for the incidents that
Sure.
you know that someone who has heat in a hot shower can't possibly respond to.
Sure.
So,
Yeah.
All of that, it all helps. It's what makes everything work. And this week, I do understand that, there are people certainly in more remote areas that still don't have power for various reasons, but could have been a lot worse.
Sure.
Right.
It really could have been a lot worse.
We have a lot that is going on in our community this week for parents and families that have their kids at home. The movie theaters are running Capitol Showplace, and the Paramount right here in Barrie are running matinees every day this week. There's some great stuff going on. And Raylene is
Open gym at the auditorium.
open gym at the auditorium.
Fantastic.
There's ice skating. All kinds of
It's
stuff.
all over. Raylene's got it all over our Facebook
And
page.
you can go sledding. And if you don't have a sled, just go up here on Washington Street, grab one at Stones.
Yeah, DJ put a bunch of sleds out.
Go,
So if a kid,
go sliding and
if you want
just
to.
put
I
it
almost
back.
did, but I actually sat and watched.
Tom, please wear a helmet if you do, okay?
I sat. Well, I mean, I grew up sliding in Elmwood Cemetery,
Yeah.
and I was, watching some of the kids. I stopped yesterday on my way home and just sat and watched some of the kids.
Yeah.
It's hysterical. Some of them belly flop.
Sure. Tom, did you ever hit
Some
the
of
tree?
them face
They're so
plant,
brave.
face plant right into the snow, and I'm
Yep.
like, yeah, just like we used to do when we were kids.
Did you ever hit the tree?
I never.
The tree.
Probably. I was not a smart child, so I'm sure I probably, did once or twice. But we lived, right across the street, so
Yeah.
that was our thing.
Right.
Mom would dress us up and kick us out of the house so
Sure.
she could get,
Right, get
a
over
little,
there.
a
Get the
little peace and
housework done
quiet.
and-
We'd be over at the cemetery.
Yeah.
And then it invariably, not now, but it's going to happen. Actually, it should happen this week. What's going to happen? The temperature is going to rise.
Yes.
You're going to get a little water on that hill.
Yeah.
And it's going to be like a luge.
And it's so
And,
true.
it's those
So
times where you
true.
think, okay, maybe we should put a snow fence, some sort
Right.
of catching mechanism at the end. So yeah, the speeds.
Hay bales.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the speeds in Elmwood Cemetery will likely pick up Friday and Saturday.
And Tuesday, Roger Hill's saying we're going to possibly have another rain event
Oh no.
this coming Tuesday. So.
Yeah.
I also want to say that during this weather, this storm, this situation in Barrie, Bob Nelson was supposed to be on the air with us on, I think, Thursday or Friday morning.
Friday.
I can't remember.
Yep, Friday morning.
Yeah, Friday morning. And he canceled on me, and I'm not surprised. He basically was like, you know what? We are just so busy trying to help people get ready for this storm.
I can't do
I
it.
just can't do
Yep.
it.
Well,
And
Bob's great that way.
he is.
Yeah.
My God, I mean, he is. He's incredible.
He knows where his priorities lie.
That's exactly
he's a
right.
smart guy.
That's exactly it. And his storefront just looks amazing. How blessed are we to have that behind you? I mean,
Absolutely.
it's just incredible.
No, he's a great guy. Everybody over there is great.
Raylene and I also want to
Actually, Bob just sits in his office and pulls the strings. It's really his staff who make it
Yes.
happen. Sorry, Bob.
and Annette does all the work.
Bob does a. I know she does all the work, but yeah, somebody's got to lead. So we're grateful for people like Bob and
That's right.
Nicholas. And like I said, I mean, I told Nicholas what really impressed me is the level of communication.
Yeah.
That's key. People need
right.
to know. People need to
Right.
know
that you're there. Yeah.
Right.
that you're there and that you're in charge. That we got you.
We got your back.
So it's really important, and I think I was very confident during the event. Like I said, rode around and sort of assessed things.
Yeah.
But everywhere there was a significant problem. There were a few flooding events, some culverts that were getting a little overwhelmed, and man, the crew was right there.
I gotta say, you remember, of course, the May flood before Irene. You and I remember
I've
that
put
one
that, I've
real
put that
well.
out of my mind.
We spent some time on a mic on that, and then Irene. What was redone on the not only the jail branch, but also this branch running by Maplewood. Why am I drawing a blank there? That got clogged up.
Oh,
during-
yeah. No, that was fine. I
that
went
was
up there.
all redone. That
Yep.
was all redone.
Yep.
Way back.
I mean, there were...
was that 2012, 13 ish somewhere?
Now you're testing
That's
me.
all right.
It was right around then, maybe a year or two later when we completed all of the flood mitigation. But those systems, I mean, there was a lot of debris that
and
came.
silt.
Yeah.
And silt.
Yeah, there was a lot of debris that, even in December,
Yeah.
came floating down.
I know. But
And but the
Joe
catch
said
basin,
they were
they
watching
did their,
those.
yeah,
they were
did
watching
their
those
job.
traps.
It looked
and-
scary, but it did its job.
did its
That's
job.
for sure.
Yep.
Yep.
And now they, go hoe them out and clean them out. And,
Yeah.
But, the water ran where it was supposed to go, and there was, some, little issue with debris, nothing serious.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
Yeah. I mean, overall, things could have been a lot worse.
We want to give a shout out to one of our sponsors tonight, Rich McSheffrey and Cornerstone. They've got their $5 burger night,
Yay!
which is tonight.
Yeah.
Tonight. Dine in only.
Dine in only.
Yes.
Starting at around 4:30, 5 o'clock, somewhere in there. Get over there for dinner. Enjoy a $5 burger, and you don't have to.
With a
I'm just saying,
basket of fries.
that's one of the options, and it's just fantastic. It's just great. The atmosphere, the drinks, Mike at the bar. My God, that guy knows how to make a margarita.
Full menu. Great drinks.
Oh yeah. Also,
Stop in.
Quick Lube today, Wednesday, Ladies' Day.
Ladies' Day.
Get yourself over there. Get an oil change. Have all the fluids checked. Make sure you got the right grade oil in the car for the cold temps. It's not even cold yet. Winter hasn't even really started yet. So make sure your car is prepared. You got the coolant in there. Your radiators checked. Your hoses are checked. Your
Winter wiper
everything.
blades.
Yeah.
Which I need
they take
desperately.
good care of you.
Yeah.
That's
and
right.
you're in and out.
Yeah, no, that's where I go for oil changes
And if
because
you-
they check.
If you're Tom Lozon,
Everything.
and if you're Tom Lozon and you're super busy and you're on the phone in a meeting, doesn't matter. Pull in,
Stay right in your
stay
car.
on that conference call. They'll take care of you. Well, you don't have to even get out of your car.
No.
That's what's so nice.
No, I mean that's literally why I go there.
right.
I mean, and it's great because you pull in, and I've done this before. There's 3 or 4 or 5 customers in front of you. It just depends on the day, and they're great about. They'll hold your place in line. You're like,
Yeah.
okay, you know
Yeah.
what? I'm going to run to the post office, and you're like, yep, cool.
Sure.
They'll tell you how long it's going to be. So, no, just super. And John Lyon, the owner, John was one of those guys who had a generator and was loaning
Loaning
it
it
person
out.
to person to literally like. I'll meet you here. I'll
Yep.
load it in your pickup truck for you, and off you go. And so John was out there, as were a lot of people, helping folks.
I love it.
Now everybody's pricing whole house generators.
Right, I know.
We're not. No, you know what I'm pricing? A
Heat pumps.
Tesla battery, a whole house.
That's what my
battery.
sister has.
What?
Yeah,
sister has that.
there's such a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. That's
But,
my
there,
sister
but
has it.
and Booten and I have talked about this.
Yeah.
There's there's going to be already is a lithium shortage. What the hell, Tom? Come on.
Yeah, not a big consumer of lithium. So
Just saying.
now, if you were talking about like burger night shortage, you might have gotten a
Right,
response.
right.
But okay, lithium burger night. I'm good.
I think if Michael Booten could get himself into the right electric car, I think he would have an epiphany. And-
Look, it's technology, JD. The technology, we're just not there. We're at a point where we have wants. We do need to reduce our carbon emissions. And even if you look at the petroleum industry, and this is how I feel about it, the petroleum industry has reduced their emissions by about 70%. through cleaning, more burners and boilers that burn more cleanly, through fuel improvements, removing the sulfur from fuels. They've reduced their emissions significantly over the last 20 years, and they are part of the solution. I mean, we absolutely need to go more to renewables, but we just had this power outage.
Yeah.
So imagine if it was all renewables. We would have had an additional problem. If we had today's technology,
Right.
because we wouldn't have been moving vehicles around because we didn't have power.
Right.
Eventually, and I do believe this, eventually we will significantly reduce our dependence on fossil fuels, and we need to. We need to for the sake of the planet and our grandkids and our
Sure.
great-grandkids, and the technology will catch up. 10 years from now, we'll have a device like this, something this size, that will power our whole house. I absolutely believe that.
Right.
But in terms of our infrastructure and we're just not
We're
there.
just not there.
Yeah.
We're just not there
I
yet.
wonder if Lily's going to be zipping around in a little flying car like the Jetsons.
Flying? No. Flying? Probably not.
Yeah.
Electric? Lily will
I
absolutely
know.
have an electric vehicle.
She may
and-
have a robot for a maid, though.
Yes.
Yeah, and
you never know.
her
Or
children
or
will
robot
sit
for
on your
husband.
her children will sit on your lap, and they will just be awestruck as you tell them the stories about filling up a
Right.
vehicle with liquid,
You're right.
and then running it down the road. They'll
Yeah.
just be
Amazing.
look at you like, okay, your father time.
What's a CD player? Yeah.
Right.
Oh, I know.
So, the technology is amazing. The technology will catch up, but we, like I said, I think there's room in the conversation for the petroleum and
Right.
and renewables, and I think if we can encourage those sort of partnerships, we're going to be better off for
Yes.
it. The petroleum industry isn't anyone's enemy.
Right.
Like I said, they've done a good job over the last 20 years, so we'll get there.
I want to make sure we get this on. Raylene and I were having a brief chat last night about Bulldog, who is also one of our sponsors here at Aired Out, and their response and their reaction to this storm and what they did, helping out the utilities. I mean, just great family up there.
Yeah.
Great family.
It was a
Go
team
ahead.
effort here in Central
Yes.
Vermont. I mean, from somebody who, had sandwiches to someone who had it was just a really
Yeah, they were loaning their equipment. Bulldog was.
yeah.
Yeah.
It was
were.
it was great to see.
Yep,
it
it
was
really
just
was.
great to see everyone step up and how everyone was so anxious to do something for someone.
Sure.
So pretty proud of that.
Before
go
we
ahead.
close out, we have
Yeah.
to say that Ray Boffeld
Yes.
did very well with his surgery, is recovering. Things are going okay. The GoFundMe is up, and there's a little bit of
This is the farmer up in Cabot.
in Cabot that was injured, and so that is up. He did make it through the surgery. He's doing well, and but yeah, long road. A lot of broken bones, a lot of injuries, and then Francis Jones and his family, the family that lost their home in Northfield, the fire there. That GoFundMe is also up. A lot of the shopping has been done for the
kids.
littles, and just keep watch
Yeah.
for the updates of that.
Oh, thank you.
Good stuff.
It is, it is good stuff. I thank you, because the two of you are always you're making sure. I don't think anyone forgets, but everyone has busy lives, and so thanks, because the two of you are always, making sure that people who need a little bit of help, that you're doing your part to make sure that they get some help.
Well, thank you,
thank
Tom.
you for that.
Thanks.
And listen, and I know you got to run, and I don't want to go out on a negative today, Tom. But as a money guy,
But
as
let's be negative.
as a numbers guy, you work with numbers. You work with money all the time. Are you privy to all of this notion of shrinkflation? Have you heard the term shrink?
Yeah.
Have you seen the size, Tom, of a quarter pounder with cheese? Have you seen the sizes of things getting smaller, Tom? What the hell's
not.
going on,
Well, let's put it
Mozart?
this way. I don't see it in Barrie, Vermont. When I walk into our coffee shops, or I walk into the Cornerstone, or Ladder One, or the Quarry, or anywhere, I don't see it here. And I don't give a rat's ass about the size of a quarter pounder with cheese because it's never going. I'm never eating
Right.
a quarter pounder with cheese.
Tom, I want you to. I'm going to give you something. I want you to take it back to the office. I want you to show your. I want to show you. I want you to show your
He's
coworkers.
losing his mind over a quarter
Tom,
pounder with cheese.
No, this is what I'm losing my
Oh,
goddamn
thank
mind
God.
over, Tom.
That isn't what I thought
No,
he was going to
Tom,
do.
the Reese's Christmas tree.
Okay.
Okay,
It used to be.
Tom.
Well, wait a minute, though. No. Well, wait a minute.
We're not waiting a minute, Tom.
No,
these used to be huge.
Well, but you'd buy them individually. These are the ones that come in the bag, right?
Yes,
I've seen these.
But Tom, they're when have they ever been this small? Look at this, Tom. That's not right. These things have been huge. They were half the size of my hand.
Yeah, and have you noticed that everyone else was huge too? Maybe they needed to cut the size down so that people aren't eating
not-
2 pounds of peanut butter and chocolate. But then again, when we were children and
Look
they
at that.
came,
That's disgusting.
They came
That should
into
be
it-
3 times that size, Tom. I'm pissed.
then we'll all be 3 times the size that we are. Yeah, dude, you need to put things in perspective. It's Reese's. Yeah, it's
It's the size of my thumb. It's disappointing, Tom.
size doesn't
disappointing.
matter, JD.
Oh my God.